link building that actually works in 2026. Today I'm joined with Charles Floate, who does a lot of different black hat SEO strategies, parasite SEO strategies. But actually, where a lot of people know him for that, he actually builds a lot of genuinely decent brands. He uses a lot of his intelligence of knowing how to manipulate the SERPs, but builds a lot of white hat brands and makes a lot of money on white hat brands, believe it or not. But link building specifically, a lot of people chase the do follow links on high DR websites and stuff like that. Is that still what's working in 2026? Has the game changed? Is it now mentioned about branded mentions becoming more important than ever? People wanting to try to get rankings in the LLMs, in the AI overviews, in ChatGPT. So let's just jump right in the deep end. What link building strategies are working for you now in 2026, Charles?
So link building for Google specifically, right now, the number one tactic is consensus-based link building, which is essentially Google has the link graph, and it has the exact same thing that it does for documents, it does for domains. So it treats certain domains as better parts of a topical cluster than other domains. And you essentially want to try and get as many of those domains that are a part of that topics cluster to link to you, and thus reinforce your trust signals, your expertise, your authoritativeness, all that kind of stuff in Google. Now that is EEAT. This is the thing, right, that I love to kind of remind people, is that actually EEAT is 99% off page, and they're looking for the signals from the sites that it already trusts and it already knows has topical expertise on a subject to reinforce your expertise and topical subjectness.
Yeah. Go on, sorry. So what on there with regards to EEAT kind of link building and building up the consensus and stuff like that? Well, I feel like over the last 2 years, people have spoke less and less about within the whole. I'm not saying you have specifically, but people spoke less and less about building links. But I feel like in the last few months, it's now become more important than it ever has been, because now you need not just a high DR do follow link, but consensuses. You need lots of consensus. You need lots of different referring domains repeating who you are, what you do, what entity, what attribute, what reputation, the awards, the case studies, the testimonials and stuff like that. This needs to be corroborated on these third-party sources. Would you agree in saying that link building has become actually, or at least third-party mentions has become more important than ever because of AI?
1000%, right? I've spoken to a lot of Fortune 500 CMOs and COOs that for the first time in forever are interested in building links, are interested in SEO, are interested in mention link building. It used to be an unfortunate reality that SEO was almost sidelined in the boardroom when it came to marketing budgets and when it came to marketing decisions, and especially when there was downsides or downturns, it was usually the first marketing expense that was cut as well. Now you're looking at actually, potentially, especially with a lot of companies, they're spending more on AI SEO, more on SEO, more on digital PR, more on link building, more on mention building, all of these combined, than they are on every other type of marketing. Especially in certain niches where ads are becoming either more and more restricted, or they're becoming more and more expensive because of this centralization that Google has been able to take over when it comes to search ads.
Do you know why I think that is, Matt? I'll give you my own little reason for this. When you start running ads, now more than ever, once you start running an ad, I feel more people are more inquisitive now and try to dig a bit deeper. And with regards to AI, right, you can ask a question like, are these any good? Are these worth it? Are these legit? Are these trustworthy? And they can give the answers back that come back straight away of, yeah, they're all right. However, they've got mixed reviews. This is a problem, but they're quite good at this. And that is massively affecting so many people's conversion rate optimization. So it's affecting where it used to be at the 11th hour, they might go and do comparisons and stuff like that. AI right at the very start now is doing the branding, the reputation and everything right at the front end. Therefore, link building or building that corroboration now without just getting the inquiry, you need to be the one that they're wanting to choose, not just getting the inquiry, but literally be the best recommended. And AI now has almost become a 24/7 recommendation engine and sales engine. So therefore, people now need to be doing a lot more. Where previously it were like, well, let's get the inquiry and we'll try and sell ourselves off-site. Look how great we are. Look at this. Where now I almost feel like before they even fill in or buy a product, they've got to be, especially if they're just filling in a lead, they've got to be going, yes, these are the best choice for you to have. And I feel like that's why that third-party corroboration and building that consensus now, we're releasing in-house. We're doing more than we ever have. We're doing more link building and third-party corroboration than we ever have across all of our brands.
I'm sure it's working amazingly as well. That's the thing. So the ROI that you can get out of it as well is pretty spectacular in certain industries and certain niches where the traffic, because of this consolidation and centralization, traffic itself is becoming more valuable. With those ad clicks going up, that is in line with traffic becoming more valuable. And as a result, we are building campaigns, especially with SEO, where you have got long-term traffic building, long-term AI recommendations potentially coming out for the next few years and things like that from work you did years or months previously. That ROI is pretty unheard of when it comes to other marketing spaces.
So let me break it down then. So we're talking here about link building that works in 2026. I'm going to start rhyming off a few different link building strategies, and you can say whether you go, yeah, nay, or it can do, it can't do. Right, so digital PR, newspapers, magazines, what's your thoughts on that? Is that working in 2026?
Yes, 100%. It's just that the space has become too filled with digital PR agencies that are focused on irrelevant campaigns. So they will go and work with a random e-commerce website that is selling tech products, and they'll do the best Halloween costumes for dogs in 2026, right? And try and get loads of journalists and newspapers and things, something to that. Well, I would much rather have something relevant to the website in some capacity, where you can actually build some of that topical authority and the entity recommendation and some co-occurrence around our brand than I would these kind of irrelevant digital PR campaigns that are just ticking off domains that they're trying to acquire.
Yeah, do you know what on that? Like something that we have done in-house is our link building efforts now have been an expansion of our semantic content network. So when we're doing a topical map, we're like, okay, here's what we want to cover. Here's the entities we want to cover, the attributes that we want to cover. And now we need to cover these again offline to kind of re-emphasize and reaffirm what we're saying on our site off-site. So, but on to the next one. Guest posts. Are they more important than ever with you guys? Are they working in 2026? Are they not?
They're working fantastically if you do them properly. The main issue again is that too many people don't put the time into guest post content. They're just spinning up 500-word AI articles and sticking it in, right? Like going back and harping back on this entity stacking and the AI validation, the entity and the co-occurrence, you should use the content that you get from that guest post to reinforce all of those things, to rank for keywords, to get signals, to get links, to reinforce that domain and that link for months and years to come. But most of the time, they're just spinning up an article, sticking it on the domain, and going on to the next link to build. That leaves so much value in that link that you have just left on the table. It is ridiculous. It is like going to KFC and just eating the skin off the chicken and leaving the chicken in the bucket, right? It is ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on that, again, just internally from us, with regards to semantic content and like you said there, getting that entity stacking in place. For us, I'm not really too bothered about DR and do follow and stuff like that. I'm more bothered about confidence and clarity. They are the two things that we're focusing on. How confident are they in the entity and the attributes of what we do within the content? And is it ranking? So confidence, clarity and ranking, because then that's then part of query fan out and manipulating the AI overviews, but also building the consensus within Google search and Bing search. I'm gonna go a bit further down, like niche edits. So link inserts. How important is that for link building in 2026? Or has it become less important?
No, I think they're still very important. Again, it's just mostly down to the, less so about the kind of quality side from the content and that kind of stuff, more so about the due diligence. Most people aren't doing the proper research. They're taking the time to actually find the pages that they can get links on that are going to be really, really powerful for their site. I would spend an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes per link you are building to go and look at other links on the website, to go and look at what pages are ranking, to go and look at the keywords, to go and look at the link profile, to go and look at the traffic charts, to make sure that they're not faking any metrics, all of those different bits and pieces, and then actually do some page level due diligence as well. So is that page ranking? What keywords is it? Does it have previous way back history? Does it have all of these things? Does it have high OBL? Does it have low OBL? There's a bunch of different bits and pieces that you should just do really heavy amounts of due diligence on your link insertions, and the ROI and the impact that those link insertions will have will be significantly higher, because right now, from what I can see, a lot of people are picking niche edits and they just get neutralized because they're too easy for Google to detect. Whereas if you do that additional work, additional bit of time, additional bit of content editing, maybe update the page, add an image onto that page, all of those different bits and pieces, which really changes the dynamics of how Google processes that niche edit link insertion, you really do get a much higher and better impact out of it. And right now, because links are just getting more and more powerful, and because root authority is so powerful, I would argue that when you do pick those right niche edits, they are more powerful than they have ever been before.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. So if you gain it on a page, let's say on a listicle, that's been seen as being a trusted source, and using that information within the LLMs and stuff like that, if you can go and get your brand added onto that listicle, which is already being seen as a trusted source, that link insert and niche edit is a brilliant way of doing it. However, some people are just going out blindly, going ordering 50 niche edits because they want do follow links into irrelevant articles. And I think that's just worthless nowadays. Again, it all comes back down to confidence and clarity and rankings. If it's got confidence and clarity and rankings, you can add your brand into it and it still makes sense. Absolutely, it's working brilliantly. What about, like, let's say, look at some other black hat type. Oh, not black hat. Well, no, let's move on to next. Press releases. So you do a press release, it gets syndicated out to 350 press release distributions. Maybe only 10, 15 of those articles might rank, but it could form part of the consensus building. What's your thoughts on press releases in 2026 for link building?
I do. For link building specifically, I'm not a massive fan of they're going to give you rank and authority and that kind of stuff. I do think, especially when you're doing entity stacking, they can be fantastic for kind of the social fortress that Matt Diti talks about, which is reinforcing your social profiles, reinforcing your citations, making sure those links are counted and are validated and are actually have power themselves to further impact your entity scoring and validation knowledge graph in Google. As a source of links, though, for rank, for authority, that kind of stuff, I'm not a gigantic fan of them. But Google is favouring them a lot more this year than they have done in previous years.
Tell a lot about some of the lower quality. So blog comments, GSA, Ranker X, Money Robot, SEO Neo, like the Web 2 backlinking and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on that? Because I know a few people are actually doing it now as a tier 2 and a tier 3, but they're actually, what you spoke about before, they're improving the content that's getting put onto them. And when some of these are actually indexing, they are actually forming, they might only be on page 3 or page 4 of Google or on Bing, but they're forming part of being the consensus. And it is actually, by some of this for AI, it is helping the LLMs in getting cited. However, what about from a link building strategy as well? Like, is it just worth it for LLMs but not worth it for links? Or like, what would you be doing there?
In terms of any automated link building, I would never put it directly at a money site unless I'm doing some sort of churn and burn project. And there is some secret sauce where you can use like the canonical method and things like that to use some really aggressive automated link building campaigns and actually get it to work on money sites. With everything else, even with tier 2s, I would stick to things like SEO Neo or SEO Autopilot or something along those lines, where you are going to have higher quality contextual based links. Stuff like GSA, Money Robot, all those kind of things, where a heavy amount of the links aren't going to be contextual. You are just building signals that are going to be neutralized 99% of the time, right? So I would much prefer to, if you are going to go down that path, just to stick to the contextual automated link building. And the fact that we now have AI to write these incredible article and content pieces without human editing, and you can create pipelines that will output incredible piece of content, that really does add to the rankability and the serviceability and the visibility that you get from those articles and from those Web 2.0s.
What about PBNs for link building in 2026?
again, PBNs are kind of having a bit of a comeback. I think it's because of how Google is treating root authority and domains, and if you can get homepage links again, there is less anti-spam filters and systems that used to kind of trigger and remove a lot of the equity that you would get and potentially even turn some of those links toxic. A lot of those are gone, and as a result, a lot of those homepage PBN links are working fantastically. Now, a lot of people think of PBNs and they think of Blackout World. They think of Fiverr. They think of all of these forums and marketplace and things. Most of the time, those services will eventually get you burned anyway, just because of association, right? You will eventually have a customer or a client of those services do such a bad job of their SEO that they will have either the algorithm or even worse, a manual reviewer come and look at their website. And as a result, you will eventually get caught by having so many of those guilty by association links from PBNs where other clients and other customers have gotten you caught, not yourself. If you can go to private vendors, or you can speak to people who have got access to their own custom niche, private, exclusive networks, those ones are hitting like a truck right now. And if anything, they're significantly cheaper than actually building links through some of the bloggers and publishers, because those prices have been jacked up so high, whereas a lot of the PBN vendors are still going to sell you a post for $15, right?
On there, you mentioned homepage links. So what about like SAPE or homepage rentals for like sponsorships? Are they any good? Or because there's no like kind of content, semantic content around it, are you not really interested in those, or are they working well?
They work really well in non-English. So exactly what you just said, because of the lack of semantics and lack of NLP that they have got in those other languages algorithms, they work fantastically well. In English, we haven't seen it work as well, unless again it's through those like kind of black hat canonical methods.
Yeah. What about age domains? You doing anything with age domains?
I personally, not really at the moment, just because we've seen other tactics working better this last couple of months, especially with like subdomains and the canonical and stuff like that. With age domains, we have still seen them ranking particularly well in international SERPs again. So if you, and again, it doesn't need to be relevant at all. These days, you can pick up a restaurant in Greece that has a .gr domain, and it used to be a Greek restaurant with Greek menu, with Greek homepage, everything in Greek, and it will rank in Thai casino SERPs, right? There doesn't need to be any sort of relevancy match whatsoever, but they're working less and less in English, whereas about 6 months ago, they were absolutely smashing it in English as well.
What about 301s or canonicals?
Yeah, so we use 301 redirects and canonicals quite heavily. Mostly, to be fair, it's to rank for SERPs where other black hats are ranking with other black hat techniques. It's not necessarily that we're going into a super white hat clean SERP and using redirects and canonical subdomains and things like that to rank. It's generally for dirtier SERPs that we're trying to rank in. And again, that's probably because of consensus. Google seeing that everybody else is doing redirect spam, so you must be doing redirect spam to rank as well. We're going to rank you. Whereas if you went into life insurance or something like that, everybody else in the SERPs has a very high authority, clean website with trust signals and things like that. Your 301 redirect 8 domain spam probably isn't going to work.
And then in like local SERPs, what about like local directories and citations, or a Google stack and a cloud stack and stuff like that, where some of them talk about for local SEO?
I don't do local SEO that much at all. In the last 10 years, I have probably done 3 local SEO campaigns, and I've verified a GMB or a GMP, right? One in my entire 10 years of doing SEO. With that being said, I have seen that it works very, very well, and there's 2 different methodologies, maybe 3 different methodologies and reasonings of why that is the case. Number 1 is because there's low competition in the SERPs, and as a result, any links whatsoever are going to give you some level of advantage versus competitors that have got DRs of 3 and 2 and 0. Number 2, AI again. You can still feed a lot of those different models and outputs and algorithms is with these AI, what they call AI map packs now, you are going to end up with limited information building the consensus in that local map pack. The more information you can basically stack into the SERPs, stack into that local area, the more likely you are to have your map pack actually listed in the AI output as well.
Right, so link building that works in 2026. I'm going to shamelessly allow you to plug PressWiz now. So you've got 1 minute on the stage for telling people with a summarization of what someone should be doing in 2026 for link building. I'm going to allow you to mention PressWiz, explain who they are and what they do, but then also if there's anything else out there where you're saying, if I had 3 strategies, this is what I would be doing in 2026 for link building.
Yep, so PressWiz is the fastest growing link building marketplace of all time. We scrape all of our inventory, so we currently have our own internal search engine which allows you to go and search for niche edits. We have blacklisting, we have competitive backlink analysis, we have connections with Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, all the tools that you would need. We have a growing inventory, so currently we have about 38,000 websites on the inventory. We are right now adding 120 publishers a day to the marketplace. So every 24 hours when you log into the site, you'll be able to see 120 new publishers that you'll be able to buy links from. And that is continually expanding as we're going on for the next few years. We also do SEO, Reddit mentions, tier 2 link building, entity stacking service, and a bunch of managed services as well. And yeah, that's basically it.
So if I wanted to, let's say I don't know anything about PressWiz, I set up the account. If I log into it, am I able to see the domains and see the prices and say, okay, I want to buy that one, I want to buy this one? Am I able to write my own content? Do I upload the content, or do you do a content kind of service as well that can go with it? Like what's the scenario with that?
So when you initially sign up, your account will be locked, but you'll still be able to see and search 10 publishers at a time. And you'll be able to see the full domain, it's fully transparent, we don't hide anything at all. You'll be able to see the pricing, the different offers, guest posts, link insertion, special categories, that kind of thing. And you'll be able to upload your own content or choose for us to write an article for you, and it'll be a different level of article depending on if you want to do a basic or a premium article. We also do tier 2 link building, like I said, as an option for that. So when you actually build the link, we can tier 2 blast that for you as well.
And then in there internally, so if I go and log into PressWiz, I've got the account, I'm now wanting specific relevance on the backlinks. Can I search by, like, say, category, like industry, let's say like roofing, for example, and it'll bring back the 10 most, what you believe, the most relevant roofing websites that there is that can do it on, maybe home improvement and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we've got main categories, which is home improvement and gardening and things like that. And then what you can do, or what I like to do, is you actually select that category first, and then you just put in the search engine the exact keyword that you're looking to rank for, which might be roofing, and it'll come back with every single website that is in the home and improvement category, but also has at least one page which has the keyword roofing on that page for you as well, so that you know they already have some topical relevancy to your website as well.
Perfect. So anyone who's watching this, I hope you like the video on link building that works in 2026. Make sure you check out the links in the description. There's several other episodes I've done with Charles with regards to selection rate, optimization, AI SEO, and advanced SEO strategies that's working right now in today's SERPs and within the LLMs. Charles, it's been an absolute pleasure.